It's time for the parent memoirs. All right, welcome to another episode of the parent memoirs. I'm Laura Mack.
I'm Jessica James.
So today, unfortunately, lately it seems like there are a lot of stories of people like with missing kids and like missing kids in particular. And we picked out two cases, one that Jess has been following and one that I just started following, which is kind of bonkers. And both of them are really sad. But we figured we would just go ahead and just chat about it. So I don't know. The kid from Colorado, what was his name?
Gannon Stouch.
Gannon.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you fill everybody in on what the details of that story are? Because I don't really know.
Okay, so what caught my eye about this story the most is that the initial articles that started being posted was that on January 27th, he was reported missing as a runaway, and that he was last seen at a gas station, basically just right down the street from where I live.
Okay.
And so that was what initially caught my attention. And, because that's our neighborhood. That's where we are. And we have a lot of kids in the area and us personally. So, well, me personally, not really you so much. Slacker. And so, and of course, there's all kinds of talks and discussion about, what's going on, all kinds of theories, about what's happened to this little boy. And, he's only 11 years old, so he's sixth grade.
I was about to say, how old is this kid that he's a runner? He's sixth grade?
Yeah, sixth. Well, I'm assuming he's 11. God, so I'm assuming he's in sixth grade.
Young for that. I don't know. Maybe it's me.
Well, that's because he wasn't actually a runaway. That's just what got reported.
Yeah.
So on Monday, January 27th, the police station or the a call was made in to the police basically stating that Gannon had left on foot to go visit a friend. Mm-hmm. So he was walking to a friend's house, and he was reported missing by his stepmom, whose name is Letitia Stouch, and that she had seen him at the house, and then he left to go to his friend's house and either never made it or never came back home. So that's when they called, and she reported him as a runaway. And I think it was like probably like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon that she called in to report him missing. Okay, so 6:55 p.m., the El Paso County Sheriff's Office dispatch reviews calls for a runaway child from the neighborhood that he was living in, which is just, around the corner, down the street kind of area.
I was about to say, because that is literally right down the street from you.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, no, yeah, if you take Mark Shuffle home, you go by it.
Oh, my God.
It's basically just right around the corner. And let's see here. So on the 27th, that's when he was reported into the national database as an active runaway. Mm-hmm. And that's when the searches started.
Can I pause you right there?
Yeah.
What was the reason that they were saying that they knew that the stepmom was saying, oh, he ran away? Like, why didn't they think initially that he was missing? Why did they immediately go to he ran away?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, that's a good question because, honestly, I don't know. I think that he was just initially viewed as a runaway because that's how he was reported.
Yeah. I would think with like a 17-year-old, that would be a little bit more.
Right.
Okay, yeah, they probably ran away. But an 11-year-old? I don't know. So either that's a failure on the Fountain Police or that's a failure.
Right.
Or they, like you said, they probably just went with what she said.
Right.
But, okay.
Getting a call saying, he was home, he left on foot,
Yeah.
and nobody has heard from him.
Yeah.
You know, which, you know, and that's a really good question. Like, I don't know. Why wouldn't you just, there had to be something else going on that would substantiate a runaway case.
Right.
And not a kidnapping, especially if he leaves the house on foot. Why wouldn't you automatically assume that maybe somebody abducted him and just, you know, snatched him up, put him in a car and drove off?
Right.
So there had to be something outside of just her saying, oh, he ran away.
It honestly, from where the story ends up, what it sounds like is there was some kind of issue going on in the house that made them think, oh, they got in a fight and they just ran away. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. So he was last reported as being seen between 3 and 4 p.m. on the 27th. And then on the 28th, the case was turned over to the county's investigators. And that's when they started conducting interviews, collecting surveillance information from, like, you know, neighbors and stuff in the area. Because, you know, everybody these days got cameras, you know, for the Ring doorbells and, you know, everything. And then on the 29th, investigations just continue. On the 30th, he is upgraded from a runaway case to endangered missing child. And I know that one of the reasons why he was changed to endangered was because apparently this boy has, like, daily medications and stuff that he was supposed to be taking. So that was one of the reasons, from my understanding, as why he was upgraded to endangered. And on the 30th as well, El Paso County requests assistance from, you know, FBI and other types of, I guess, departments. What the hell do you call that?
Law enforcement agencies?
Yeah, thank you. Law enforcement agencies. God! So, and then on Friday, January 31st, Letitia Douch, she has an interview with 11 News.
Okay.
And I think this is when everybody really started to suspect that this was not right.
Oh, yeah?
Because when you listen to her interview, everything she says about this little boy is in past tense. Oh, he was such a happy child. He was so helpful. La-di-da-di-da. And then when at one point in time in the interview, they start speaking to his sister, to Gannon's sister, and you can hear the stepmom telling this girl, you better tell them that we saw him at home. And you could tell that, you know, his sister was not... that she wasn't comfortable with this.
Oh my God.
You know, and so I think that's, you know...
This is horrible.
Yeah, from my perspective, that's when everybody really started to understand that this there's something else going on here.
Yeah.
And then...
And did they have that on tape?
It was in the interview that was broadcasted in the news. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so, and then Monday, February 3rd, that is when another unfortunate turn comes in the case, and a neighbor comes forward with surveillance from his Ring doorbell showing a driver and a passenger getting into a truck the day Gannon went missing, and the only person who came home was the stepmom. So the surveillance footage showed the stepmom and Gannon getting into a truck at I think it was at 10 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. And then she got home about 2 by herself, and then called to report him as a runaway at 3 or 4. So
now she's been charged.
As of this last Monday, she has been charged, because apparently something that I just learned that I didn't know is right after this happened, she left and went to South Carolina, which is where they went and extradited her from.
So she left without her husband, I'm assuming?
Without the boy's father, yeah. Wow. I mean, and that was one of the things for the longest time that I've been sitting here pondering, okay, is this woman still living in this house?
Yeah.
But apparently there was some contention that she left because Gannon's mom came and was staying at the house, and that she was not going to be living under the same roof with his actual mother because that just was unacceptable.
Because that's what I'm thinking. Like, what was the excuse to leave? Okay, now I think I understand the excuse to leave. But here's the. I'm just thinking about this going forward with the fact there, because that was my question. I thought about this earlier, and I was like, I wonder if there's other kids. Since there is, I would say that if that father ever starts to date someone new, he better be very careful, because I can see the mom being like, you will not because clearly you are not a good judge of character, and you are never letting any bitch near my kids again.
Right.
Like that father for the rest of his life, I guarantee you.
Right. And, and
like,
he
she's never going to let that, he will never live that down.
Right.
And honestly, he probably will never let himself live it down.
No, he won't. And he has made comments to that. And forgive me, I can't remember if it was in an interview, or I know at the last press conference where they were discussing, the stepmom being charged with murder and everything, that he made a comment to the fact that, he basically gave, a good portion of his life to this woman who, at the end of the day,
God, that's got to be so heartbreaking.
Took his boy from him.
Oh my God, that is awful.
Yeah. And so since the 3rd, when the surveillance camera or the surveillance footage came about, as of the 5th, that's when the neighborhood started seeing activity at the house, at the boy's home, basically with, investigators coming and the district attorney coming and items being removed from the house.
Yeah.
And, so there was a lot of questions about that. And of course, at that time, there were more press conferences, and, the sheriff's department wouldn't really comment on a lot because they didn't want to say anything that could possibly endanger
Compromise the case. Yeah.
And, so as of 13th, the search for Gannon was moved into Douglas County. And that since then, so there was a lot of searching in Douglas County. As of the 21st, they're still looking, but not as intensely. And then on Monday, March 2nd, that is when Letitia Stouch was arrested in Myrtle Beach.
Okay.
And apparently, from what I read, she was staying at some, cheap, skanky little motel.
Yeah.
Which I don't really understand, because she said that she went there to be with family. So you would think if you were going there to be with family because that's where you were from, that you wouldn't have to be holed up in some skanky little hotel.
It's obviously a lie.
Right.
God,
and
what did she do with that boy?
Right. And so when I found out that she had been arrested, the biggest issue that I had, not really an issue, but the biggest question that I had was, because obviously Gannon, to our knowledge, still has not been found.
Right.
Like, they're still looking for him.
Right.
So Letitia Stouch has been charged with first-degree murder, child abuse resulting in death, tampering with a deceased body, and tampering with evidence. So that's my biggest hangup, is how can they say how can they say that they don't know where he is, but be able to implicate those
that you tampered
charges
with a dead body?
Right.
Why do you?
So I think that as far as the charges that are being pressed against her, that is like my biggest question as to how can those be the charges if Gannon still hasn't been found. So has a part
she looks
of him
like a devil.
been found? She really does. And I watched, so they had an interview with her regarding the extradition process. And she's just sitting there it's over video cam because she's, still down in South Carolina. Not at this point as of today, but she's just sitting there kind of like, okay, yeah, whatever.
That is just horrifying.
It is. So I think it's going to be interesting
to keep following that one.
To follow this and see what happens, and to unfortunately, if and once Gannon is found, to find out what has happened.
And this would just be my hope at this point with the evidence. I mean, obviously, I would never do something like this, but if it did come down to something like this where they've got me on video, like they have me dead to rights. She already took these people's son.
Yeah.
Let them have closure.
Right.
I mean, honestly, just give them that.
Right.
I mean, you took everything else.
Yeah.
Just, God, give them the closure for this. Like,
right.
That is just horrifying.
Right. But, and back to, what you said as far as the dad goes, there had to be something going on in that home with this woman for something like this to have happened.
To think that it's to not only report it as a runaway, but for the father to go along with it, him being reported as a runaway.
Yeah.
Something was up.
Right. And then the questions are asked, okay, like you said, what happened for her to take him?
Right.
And for her to end up doing, was she sexually molesting him and he started to threaten to tell, or, what?
And why just him? Why not the other one?
I'm not, I don't know, but I also don't know, the exact relationship. Like, I don't know if it was Gannon's stepsister, or what. So, I'm not sure if the sister was, the stepmoms or,
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know. And I can't imagine being that mom. I can't imagine being Gannon's mom. And the last press conference that I watched, discussing her being arrested and stuff, I mean, there was just so many moments when they're talking about, the sheriff happens to mention, that they don't believe at this point that Gannon is alive. And you just see her like she's just about to just collapse on the floor.
I mean, and I would.
Oh, God.
Like,
yeah.
Any parent would.
Right.
Especially the fact that you as their mom, like... And obviously, I'm not divorced, you're not divorced, but the thought that like so much once that divorce happens and now there's two households, like I know I control the things that go in and out of my household.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's a certain amount of control I have over our lives.
Right.
Well, when you get a divorce like this, not everything is under your control anymore.
Right.
And that's got to be I would think that would be a really difficult part of, as a mom, usually feeling like, what else could I have done?
Right.
This was out of your control. And that might actually be harder to deal with.
Yeah, because Gannon's mom, she says, I trusted this woman with my children.
Yeah. That's kind of what you do as a stepmom. Like,
right. And so, and now, of course she, I mean, I don't know. I can't even imagine.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about one more case that I had been hearing about kind of on the peripherally, if I could say that word. But I didn't know specifically what it was. But when we decided to talk about this topic, I went through and pulled up the article on this case. So this is the case of Lori Vallow and her husband, Chad Daybell.
Okay.
The story is insane.
I see, and I have no clue as to this one. I haven't heard about it at all.
Oh, buckle up, bitches.
Ooh.
It is crazy. All right, so the article I'm going to read this from is by Amanda Arnold from thecut.com. Okay, so I'm going to start a little bit lower down in the article, so not giving away the summary. Last November, extended family notified law enforcement in Rexburg, Idaho, that they hadn't been able to get in touch with JJ and Tylee since September. JJ and Tylee are Lori Vallow's 2 kids.
Okay.
JJ is 7 and Tylee is 17, right?
Okay.
So JJ apparently is not her biological son. He's like a relative's kid's or son that she adopted.
Okay.
Right? Tylee is hers. But JJ is also special needs.
Okay.
Right? So the family is very involved in their lives. So extended family called in November saying, "We have not seen them since September." And they were concerned. In response to the alert, Rexburg police visited Vallow's home, where she was living with Daybell, her new husband, to question them about the minors' whereabouts. According to police, the couple claimed that the children had moved to Arizona, where they were living with other relatives, and requested that law enforcement return at a later date. When investigators showed up the following day, the couple had fled. The police also learned that the children were not with the people that they claimed they were in Arizona. In a statement released in early January, Rexburg police said, "We strongly believe that Joshua and Tylee's lives are in danger." However, the couple has not yet faced any charges in connection to the missing children at that point. While JJ and Tylee have been reported missing since September, bizarre occurrences involving the couple date back to July, when Vallow's brother, Alex Cox, shot and killed Vallow's estranged husband, Chris Vallow. So this was not just like shit started on September. This was months before this.
Okay.
Right? So the woman, Vallow, her brother, killed her
husband. Okay.
They were apparently going through some kind of nasty divorce.
Okay.
And he had communicated to his like sister or something that he was afraid, like she was acting crazy. Apparently, she got involved with some sort of religious group, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But apparently, they claimed that they were in an argument. He hit him over the head, and the brother gave him 2 shots in the chest.
Okay.
And he died, right? At the time, the detectives ruled the shooting a self-defense. In August, Vallow and her children and Cox moved to Rexburg, Idaho, where Daybell joined them at the end of the month. But then, in December, Cox died. Her brother, the one who shot her husband. He died in December of what the Times only referred to as unknown causes. Ain't that a coinky-dink?
It is.
Then it gets worse. There's a 3rd dead body.
Is it the new husband?
Yep.
It is?
Well, kind of.
Oh.
It's connected to the new husband.
Okay.
There was a mysterious death on Daybell's side of the family as well. On October 19th, now, I really want you to keep these dates in mind.
Okay.
On October 19th, Daybell's wife, Tammy Daybell, died of natural causes, according to her obituary. Approximately 2 weeks after her death, Daybell and Vallow were married.
Seems awful fishy.
2 weeks?
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
According to the Times, law enforcement has since exhumed Tammy's remains and have also performed tests on Cox. However, authorities have not yet released the results of the tests. As the couple has come under investigation, some of their beliefs have raised some eyebrows. Notably, their involvement with a group called Preparing a People, a doomsday prepper group.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, one of Vallow's friends told Fox 5 that Vallow was 100% into the end of times and found herself drawn to Daybell through the fictional doomsday books he had written. Additionally, in divorce documents Charles Vallow filed before his death, he claimed that Vallow believes she is a, quote, God assigned to carry out the work of the 144,000 at Christ's second coming in July of 2020.
Okay.
Jesse doesn't even know what to fucking say.
I don't know what to say.
So when they fled, they fled to Hawaii.
Right.
They just packed up. As soon as the cops left, they were gone.
Okay.
Right. And they were spotted in Hawaii because they put out a like, hey, somebody find these fuckers.
Yeah.
And they arrested them.
Okay.
And they've extradited her. They haven't arrested him. He hasn't been charged yet.
Okay.
But now that they got his dead wife's body, I'm pretty sure that's coming.
Right.
Like, and friends talk about how quickly they were like, wait a minute, she died of unexpected causes, like on a Tuesday. The funeral was on a Wednesday and she was buried Thursday. Like,
right.
Funerals are not arranged that quickly.
Right.
I'm sorry. They're just not.
Yeah.
But then 2 weeks later, you marry this bitch?
Yeah.
Really? Come the fuck on. Like,
right.
That shit is coming. But she's been charged, but he hasn't as of yet. But the cops are saying, like, they're still looking for them. They have not found them.
Found
and
the
they're
kids.
like... And they're basically saying we feel that they are in danger. They're not saying that they think they're dead. They're
right.
saying they're in danger, which I'm like, okay, I would think that since September, why are they still saying they're in danger? They must have something that makes them believe they could possibly still be alive. I don't know
right.
what. But the cops point, they're like, your kids disappear in September. You don't say jack shit.
Right.
And then you refuse. They're like, she refuses to answer any questions. She has given us zero help in trying to find her children, right? Her fucking lawyer, which I'm sorry, I get that there are shiesty lawyers that are gross out. There's a lot of shiesty lawyers who are gross. This lawyer probably, in my mind, takes the fucking cake.
Yeah.
He actually said out loud that she gets very upset when people accuse her of being a bad mother because that is just not the case. She is an incredibly loving and dedicated mother. On what planet? I'd really like to know what drugs you're on because I would like to have some.
Right. And, and that's kind of interesting that you say that because it reminds me of with Letitia Stouch in one of her interviews. She was talking about how anybody and everybody who has said anything bad about her or that she had any reason to be capable of hurting this child, that they better be ready to apologize when he comes forward and explains how this was all his fault, that he ran away and that she would never do anything to hurt him.
Oh. When that guilty verdict comes in, that's going to be really interesting.
Exactly.
But I want to see the look on her fucking face.
I know.
It's like I really, really wish there had been cameras in the court when Harvey Weinstein was convicted this last week. Because they were saying, like, he seemed to have, like, no emotion as they read the verdict. Mm-hmm. But apparently when they made him stand up and put him in cuffs, that's when he was like, wait a minute.
This is real?
You're actually going to put handcuffs on me?
Right.
And then they did. And he was like, they were like, he had a look of disbelief. I'm like, God, I would have loved to have seen that.
Right. Yeah, I know. Like,
I just want to see those moments when a piece of shit gets convicted. You want to see the looks on their face. Like,
right. And, and I'm sorry, because I know I interrupted your story.
Oh, no, I was done.
But it's been interesting because, I didn't, like, with my own kids, I didn't, like, proactively, like, bring up the conversation of Gannon with them.
Right.
But you drive around Fountain and you saw pictures of him everywhere.
Right.
There's pictures in front of City Hall, pictures in front of restaurants,
right.
All over the entrance to his neighborhood. And we were driving around one day and Gabby saw one of the pictures of him, the one in front of City Hall. And she was like, oh, well, I guess a little boy's missing. And, and so I kind of explained everything that was going on. And then the day that, she was had the murder charges pressed against her, we happened to drive by City Hall again, and Gabby was like, oh, they must have found him. His picture's gone.
Oh, God.
Because the banner had been taken down. And so
God.
I explained, I said, unfortunately, no, he hasn't been found yet.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's going on.
Yeah.
And of course, she's 12.
But honestly, you would rather it be explained to them because they're going to probably hear about it. Because this is the neighborhood. They're going to hear about it at school. And she's going to be like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah. And, and from what she's told me, Gannon didn't go to her school, but she knows supposedly kids that have told her that they knew him.
Yeah.
But what really kind of, I don't want to say it was interesting, but for her to basically come to this conclusion after I explained everything to her, she asked, what she was being charged with. And I explained it as far as, the abuse, first degree murder, tampering with a dead body. And her response to me was, so she's going to be killed, right? For doing this to this little boy. She's going to be put to death, right, Mom? And I said to her, I was like, well, and I could be wrong because I don't stay current on these things. And I told her, I was like, I don't believe Colorado is a state that abides or that goes in, with the death penalty. And she said, but if she killed that little boy, isn't that what she deserves? Doesn't she deserve to die? And I was just like, and I didn't know how to respond to her because, what I wanted to say was, yes, she deserves to die in the most horrific and equivalent manner of whatever it is that she put this boy through. But unfortunately, that isn't always how it works. I can't say it isn't always. It's never how it works out. A criminal is never, put through the same.
What day was this woman charged?
On Monday.
Damn.
Why?
I guess. As of February 26th, 2020, we are no longer a death penalty state.
Balls.
But I'm wondering if it's based on the day she committed the crime.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't believe in the death penalty, and there's always this statement of your values aren't your values if you only stick to them when it's easy. So my gut reaction is, yeah, fucking kill her.
Right.
But I know that and obviously this is all hypothetical because this is none of our decisions.
Right.
But still.
Right.
Like, oh my God, you could be on her jury.
I don't think I could.
Well, I mean, you could be called for jury.
No, you're right. I could, but like
my parents could.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like mentally and emotionally.
No, that would kill you.
I would not be able to do that because
I would take 6 months off from work and come live in your home to care for you.
Right? But at the same time.
I swear to God, I would.
Right? Because at the same time, I would want to be, because I would want to make sure that justice was served.
I guarantee you, you know what? I don't even have to. I don't even have to do that. I guarantee you my mother would move in with you.
Yeah.
Just to take care of you.
Right.
To be like, oh my God, that's got to be so horrible.
Right.
Like, my mom would do it.
Right. And, and I can't say that I 100% believe in the death penalty because, of course, I'm sorry, but you lock a baby in a car and it dies in the fucking sun. I'm sorry, you should be locked in a car that is soaked in gasoline and torched, and you should die in a ball of fucking flames.
Yeah.
I only really feel that way when it's shit that people do to kids.
I feel like I feel that way when it's shit people do to kids that was on purpose.
Right.
The leaving him in a car thing,
That's
an accident. It's a stupid accident.
Is it really an accident, though? Because
Well, I mean, that's a good question.
because
sometimes
you have to make the decision, right? To walk into that store without your kid. I mean, okay, I'm sorry. There can be moments when...
Well, like the kid, like my sister, like she was working in that daycare center.
Right.
And the woman was a new mom. She
Yeah.
was tired.
You're
it was
right.
her first week going back. She went into work and just forgot.
Right.
Like, and that was a genuine, like, she just forgot about it. Like,
Right.
It wasn't a malicious thing.
You're
but I
right.
do agree with you. My visceral reaction
Right.
to people purposefully hurting children
Yes.
is, fuck you, die slowly, painfully, and horrifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, God, yeah.
It
So,
was just really interesting to me
Gabby's
for
thought
Gabby being,
process.
you know, a 12-year-old girl,
yeah.
just making that
interesting.
connection and just saying she deserves,
Yeah.
to die.
So I think we've definitely got 2 stories to keep up on
Right.
now.
Yes.
So this lady was just extradited back from Hawaii.
Yeah.
She's back, but nothing with the hubby yet.
No, it's going to be interesting. Well, if he doesn't
little bit.
mysteriously die first.
I know. Excellent point. So we will keep you guys updated. So thanks for joining us for a super light and funny episode of the Parent Memoirs.
I know. I was sitting here thinking, like,
This is dark.
do I got to choke? Do I have something?
Do I got a joke?
Do I have something to, like, lighten the moment with?
Okay, we'll end on TJ's new favorite joke that
Okay.
he's told to every single person. What do you call a fish without eyes?
What?
A foosh.
Oh, I love kid jokes. I love them so much.
I don't know where he found this. I was like, and it took me a second. I was like, what? And I thought, oh, you take the eye out of foosh. Got it. Like, it took me a second. But yeah, he's told that joke to every person we've seen, it feels like,
Yeah.
in the last, 2 weeks. So that is where we will end it. So until next time, I'm Laura Mack.
I'm Jessica James.
Love your faces. Like what you hear? Rate and review on iTunes and be entered into our monthly drawing for a $50 Amazon gift card. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at TPM_Laura, LARA, and TPM_Jessie James, JESSIJAMES. You can also check out the Parent Memoirs Facebook page or the Parent Memoirs page on qisandcucumber.com. We also want to hear your advice, stories, feedback, and show suggestions. Email us at theparentmemoirs@yahoo.com, and you may hear them on a future episode. Stay strong, mommies and daddies. Love your faces.